So let's get you to financial freedom by looking at the rich versus poor mindset, number 4, and that is begin with the end in mind. I'm Dr. Dreyer, founder of the Wealth Creators University, where our mission is to help you to be financially free as quickly as possible by helping you to create, to grow, and protect your wealth. In this episode, we're going to look at mindset number 4, and that is always begin with the end in mind. The rich listen to Stephen Covey's advice, and he basically says, begin with the end in mind. Now, the poor ignores this because they don't know what they want, and then they rely on the experts to tell them what they want. And that is basically a very simple story. They say, get a good job, work as hard as you can, make sure that you do get promotions, buy the best house in the best location, pay it off, invest every single cent that you've got back into retirement annuities, unit trust, endowment policies, fixed deposits and stuff like that, and take out all the insurance that you can, and then retire at the age of 65, and then hope like crazy that you're not going to stay alive too long and that you will not outlive your capital. That is basically what they're saying, and this is what most people buy into. Here's the problem. Unless you know exactly what it is that you want, you're not going to get it. And the easiest way to do that is to know what you want, first of all, and secondly, you must have a map or a plan. Here's the trick. You don't need a plan or a map if you have no destination. So you must know exactly what it is that you want before you start the journey. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about my journey. In 1984, I started my journey, but I did not know exactly what I wanted. The only thing that I knew at that stage was that nothing that I looked at worked financially. So the only thing that I could figure out, and that was in 1984 what I wanted to have, and that was to have no debt. Because I figured out that debt was one of the vehicles that they used, the system, in order to keep me poor. Because I focused on that, in 1987, we were financially without any debt. But immediately I ran into a second problem because I had no provision for retirement. I had no retirement annuity except for the small amount that I contributed in the work that I was forced basically to do at that stage. But other than that, no planning. So I wanted to know what was the growth on my house. And luckily for me, because I could not figure that out, I had to develop a little program or a plan. And I calculated that the growth on my investment, if I rented that out, if my house was an investment, it would not be too bad. So I thought by myself, but what if I could get out of a property portfolio 3 times more than that I need? And at that stage, my monthly income that we needed in order to have a decent standard of living was 6,800 Rand. So that was approximately 3 times more. And I thought by myself, if it was in property, then the income, the rent that I would receive would be more or less indexed with inflation. So I'd no worries about that. So what is the map? The map is the plan. And you need to start where you are. So at that point, I had 1,000 Rand. That is where you are. I had 1,000 Rand that I could put aside. The next thing that I needed to know was by when, and that was in 10 years' time. The growth that I needed, I had to calculate, and that was 55%. And if I could achieve that, I could have a property portfolio that would give me income that would be indexed with inflation for the rest of my life, and that was basically 3 times more than what I needed in terms of my standard of living at that point in time. So here's the question. What can you do and what can we do to help you to get to financial freedom? Well, I can give you an idea. And the idea is very simple. In terms of your mindset, get the right mindset. So first of all, you need to know exactly what it is that you want. So find out, what do you need? What income do you need in today's money? And maybe I can give you a tip, and that is to look at what you're spending today. And I think that's going to be a good indication. But there's another way to do it, which is maybe even better. what if you've got a plan where you do not have any debt? In other words, you've paid off all your debt, like I did in 1987, because then the plan is a lot easier, because I knew that was what I wanted, and there was no provision to pay back debt. Right, so that may be an alternative. The moment that you know what income do you need, then you must know the second thing. By when do you want it? In my case, it was 10 years at that stage. The third thing, how much can I invest? In other words, how much surplus do I have? In my case, it was 1,000 Rand. And then the last thing, now you have to calculate it. You can use a plain Excel calculator or spreadsheet. And in my case, that was 55%. In other words, that's my goal. So I knew exactly what I wanted, and I had like a plan in order to get there. But that was only half the plan. Because the important part is this. Decide what skills must you master in order to get a better return in terms of that you want. So in my case, it was 55%. And I sat down and I said, okay, what skills do I need so that I could make 100% sure that I would get more than 55%. Now, because I've developed the Property Pro investment system at that stage, and because I could see that with a little bit more skill sets that I could lower the risk and therefore increase the growth, I decided that that was the first skill set that I want to focus on and make sure that I can master property investments in order to get there. Right. So, because of that, we've measured the process. That's another part of the puzzle that you need to know, because we need to see if we're on track, and follow this path. And the only way to do that is to measure the growth each and every, I can almost say on a month-to-month basis, but definitely on a year-to-year basis to see if you are on track. And then if you're not on track, increase your skill sets, because that's the only thing that's going to help you to get to that kind of growth. And because of that, 7 years later, we were financially free. Right. And I think that is a little story that I wanted to tell you. So basically, if we look at what you need to do is to change your mindset, or to have the right mindset. You cannot have the mindset of the poor, where you trust someone else to tell you when you need something, and they're going to say to you, it's when you retire at 65 or even 70. The reason for that is they want to control your money as long as possible by investing, and then they'll tell you how to do it: retirement annuities and pension funds and provident funds and unit trust and stuff like that, which we know will not give you and will not help you, at least not within a 10-year period, to become financially free. Right, so if you've got any questions or any comments that you'd like to make, or if you think that I can help you, and if you'd like more mindset, give me the thumbs up, give me the hearts, maybe if you know of someone that can benefit from this, I would appreciate that if you start spreading the word. A little bit of feedback in terms of my children. If you go back in the posts that I've made, a couple of days ago, my children asked me to mentor them in order to get to financial freedom in less than a year. Maybe check that out. And we are busy revamping my, believe it or not, my blog in order to prepare for this. We've gone a long way. I hope that I could post something today, but unfortunately we're not ready for it. I've also had a second, or the first interview after that video that I saw. That is ready, but I wait for the blog to be ready before I'm going to post it. And then there's an additional bonus that I would like to give you. So as soon as we're ready with that, I will post this, and then we'll see what the outcome is going to be. Right. And then I'm looking forward to mindset number 5 tomorrow. I'll see you then.